We are jumping ahead a few sections. We're going to look at section 6.4, so we're not covering section 6.2 and 6.3 in this class. But we're moving to 6.4. We're going to look at the rational number system. So we're still dealing with fractions. And I'm going to go over a few things here really quickly that should be very much review for you. So we're going to start by talking about the negatives or additive inverse. So the negative of a number is just, we have 4, positive 4, it's negative 4. When it comes to fractions, I just want to point out one thing when it comes to negatives. When you have a negative sign with a fraction, the negative sign could be in the numerator, it could be in the denominator, it could be in front of the fraction, and it all means the same thing. So we could say, if I've got 4/5, its negative is negative 4/5, but how do we write it? Oops, let's try turning my pen on. We could do negative 4/5 with that negative in the numerator. You could do negative 4/5 with a negative in the denominator, or you could put the negative in front of the whole thing. It all means the same thing. All three of those are representing negative 4/5. Parts B and C are kind of highlighting this. We have negative 3/2. So the negative of this, or the opposite of this, would be positive 3/2. Sorry, that's written so low. And then the last one, negative 8/3. The negative, or the opposite of this, is positive 8/3. When we talk about negatives with fractions, it's also called the additive inverse because addition and subtraction are really the same thing. And we're talking about these arithmetic properties. And just like we have the closure property, commutative property, and so on for our whole numbers, we also have them for the rational numbers. The additive inverse, I'll highlight that real quick. That just says if you add a number plus its negative, okay, that's its additive inverse. So for instance, if you were to take 4 plus negative 4, you'll end up getting a 0. Same thing holds true with fractions. And at the bottom, there's the theorem that says subtraction is just adding the negative. So addition and subtraction are really and truly the same function. The biggest thing when you're adding and subtracting fractions is making sure you have your common denominator. So I'll go through these 3 or 4 examples actually real quick for you. I don't have the fourth one on my screen. Here we go. So the first one is 1/6 plus negative 2/3. So again, when you're adding a negative, it's the same thing as subtracting. So I will end up rewriting this as a subtraction problem. But the bigger issue here is that I don't have common denominators yet. So if I'm looking at the 6 and the 3, I'm not going to worry about that negative, just looking at the 6 and the 3, the common denominator is going to be the 6. So the first fraction gets to stay exactly as it is. Again, instead of adding a negative, I'm just going to write this as a minus. And that 2/3 now, I want to write that in terms of something over 6. It's going to become 4/6. So now I have a common denominator. I can go ahead and subtract. 1 minus 4 is going to give me a negative 3. So we have negative 3/6, which reduces, and you always want to reduce your fractions, something you can start telling the kids almost as soon as you introduce fractions, talk about reducing them. Negative 3/6 becomes negative 1/2. And again, if you write that negative with the numerator in front or with the denominator, same fraction. So the second one here, we have 3/4 plus negative 5/8 plus negative 7/12. So once again, we're adding a negative, so I'm just going to rewrite this as minuses. Other issue at play, we need to have a common denominator. Between the 4, the 8, the 12, the common denominator is going to be a 24. So the first fraction, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 6. That gives me 18 over 24. So then I do a minus. I'm adding a negative, so it's a minus. Second fraction, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 3. That gives me 15 over 24. Once again, I'll do a minus, adding a negative. Last fraction, I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 2, so I have 14 over 24. I have the common denominator, so I can go ahead and subtract. 18 minus 15 is 3. 3 minus 14 is negative 11. So I have negative 11 over 24. That cannot be reduced, so that is going to be my answer. The third one, we have a common denominator. We have negative 6/7 minus 4/7. Negative 6 minus 4 is going to be negative 10/7. And in here, you don't need to worry about turning it to a mixed number. You can leave this as the improper fraction. Negative 10/7 is going to be our answer. And the last one, 3/8 minus 1/12. We're going to turn these denominators into 24s. So we're going to have 9 over 24 minus 2 over 24. And that's going to give us 7 over 24. That one cannot reduce. So there's our answer.